Um, their lanes are strong. I think the PA is, yeah, it's probably the biggest worry still.
Okay, so I'm the way I'm looking at this, it's either a safe lane Visage and the mid lane is open. And I'm really not sure about support Visage, so some sort of mid. Templar Assassin.
Okay.
TA versus Puck. That's quite strong.
Yeah, I think that it's probably one of the more favorable matchups. I'll say it's a bit closer than it used to be because the first 3 levels, people are just way better at the game nowadays.
Sure.
So you really push that level 1 to 3 as Puck to the limit. You try to get as much harass out as you can. Victoria might spend a little bit of time mid. You're probably going to get the first range creep deny as well if you're maybe in this matchup. So we'll see how much work he can do. But again, Sumail he's notorious for always managing to get a ton out of the early laning phase.
There's more creeps in mid lane means it's better for wave clear, right? Any sort of nuking heroes naturally. So
I think that the TA is a really good way to end out the draft because if you look at LGD's lineup, they don't really have any way of burning through refraction. So once you get that MKB, BKB, sure, it's down the road a bit, but if you do get to that stage, the TA becomes very difficult for a Phantom Assassin, and I would even say like the rest of LGD's lineup doesn't really have great tools at killing a farm's TA.
Yeah, and the space that Evil Genius's lineup's going to be able to create, like with Artesia coming online pretty early and pushing down towers, I think that's a lot of space for Sumail to get to that. I feel like Templar Assassin is more of a late game threat than she used to be.
Yeah.
Just because she farms up those Ancients so fast and is able to just kind of like build and build and build, and then you get that big peak, blink, BKB, Desolator. And you just like go in there and you take out heroes and you kind of like guarantee get at least 1 or 2 kills every team fight, barring some sort of magical counterplay. I think in that case, you're kind of putting some pressure on LGD to find some way to shut the Templar Assassin down, but they're going to be kind of hard pressed to, right? They don't have this lineup that really effectively takes towers. They have killers. They have Puck, they have PA, those are definitely killers, and they can farm up really well and push into late game okay with thanks to the fact that it's just a Magnus lineup. But they won't be able to, I think, really take map control and take those farming areas away from the Templar Assassin.
It's going to be all down to the mid game, I feel, right? Because you have, like, PA mid game is still pretty strong, and once the BKB timing comes out, the Deso BKB, you have the Empower too, they're going to be able to stay, I would say, pretty consistent in farm. The Puck and split push, the Nyx is going to be gathering information, and Powered PA is going to be hitting creeps. I am in the same boat as you, thinking that the late game TA is going to be a real issue. But they do have the tools necessary to be able to pressure on the side of LGD. And I guess we'll have to see how the lanes are shaping up right now, because Ame is the one currently on the PA who is standing mid. I'm not sure if this means that they're going to go for the duel off, or if they maybe have some other plans, because at the moment, maybe he's kind of chilling around here, but he's not at the mid rune. He's at the safe lane rune.
So if Puck is bottom, he gets a 1v1 against Earthshaker. And that frees up Nyx Assassin to kind of go into mid lane, and Lich can go into the top lane. Is that how you're thinking it? You thinking the same way I am? Like a 2-2-1 scenario?
Most likely, I think, is what is going to transpire. And just having that, the favorable matchup for the Puck is nice. You're still going to get a little bit less EXP because Victoria might be hanging around a bit, but as long as you don't really have to worry about the TA getting out of control. This is like the anti-Sumail strat, right? You just send the Lich mid.
He's already taken 1 range creep away, and between the range harassment of Yao and the dagger harassment, Sumail is not going to be able to rely on for refraction very much, even when he does get level 2, because currently he's rocking just the side blades. Level
Bottom
1,
lane.
trying to keep his distance. Trying to go in, Zai gets quite low. For a successful impale from Victoria. Jesus, look at Sumail, man. He's going to have to blow through his healing salve already.
Well, there's not really much he can do about it. I mean, he's just lucky that Stifling Dagger is not the old Stifling Dagger, where you could throw it from like max range at level 1. Yeah. Nowadays, it scales up in overall distance, so he actually has it a bit easier.
And Yao, thanks to sacrifice, gets level 2 before Sumail does. I guess about the same timing.
Oh, interesting that he opted to get armor.
Oh yeah, I really thought he was going to just get the nuke and just continue to press Sumail against the wall.
Yeah, right, because Frost Blast is 2 instances of damage. There's like a single target portion and then a AoE portion.
Yeah.
So it hits twice. It's actually very good at breaking through refraction.
And considering they already have enough ways to burn through the refraction, the nuke itself, like right now, would be huge. Slows down Sumail, gets a lot of damage in, but gets the armor just to kind of secure Ame a little bit more. Takes a lot less harassment from the side blades. So
they're still going to win the lane pretty handedly.
Yeah.
There's not really much Sumail can do about it.
Wait, side blades is pure damage, so
yes.
Does it really help out that much?
Well, it helps if you are getting directly attacked. Like if Yao wants to walk up to the high ground and start trading, it's going to help. But if you're just getting hit by side blades, yeah, it doesn't do anything.
Old 11. Somehow he's managed to pull the creep wave back here. He's farming right next to his tower. That's a pretty good sign for him. It's the offlaner against the Visage. Crit. While the creep wave is pushed in so heavily, he's going to roll on in, take that bounty rune away from the Magnus. But doesn't get himself to level 2. I'm kind of wondering when he starts heading to mid lane. It's just like Templar Assassin against this duo, especially with the armor. There's not a whole lot of opportunity to get aggressive.
They can maybe kill the Lich if Yao ends up getting a bit too far forward.
Yeah.
But other than that, like killing Ame is good luck. I mean, he can just save his Phantom Strike if he really wants to.
Victoria tried to come in, but wasn't really in the range for an impale. He has gone level 2 mana burn. I particularly feel for the mid laners when you get like Templar Assassin or something and like a Nyx Assassin comes in and just mana burns you. You're like, oh, that's one refraction.
Well, there is one bright side for EG, even though the mid lane is going to struggle a little bit. It's the I can always fall back on my Ancient stack strat because I'm TA. Probably the best hero at killing Ancients besides like Tidehunter, you know, without the use of items. You can just kite it out, pop your refraction, and get your recovery that way.
Earthshaker's having a bit of a rough time here in the bottom lane. He's completely out of health regen, maybe still has 2 tangos to work with. So Earthshaker's actually going to head out of here, and Zai will take over the lane. It's gone.
And all things considered, like, Sumail's still 14-4. It's not like the PA is like trashing his CS or anything. It's 21-9. Yeah, you would expect that Ame would be ahead in this situation, but it's not as if Sumail is even really getting forced out of lane. He's got the stick, so between the sacrifice, the ice armors, the frost blast, the daggers, he's gonna always have mana for refraction, more or less.
Starting to play it around jungle. He's got 3 stacks of ancients. Start going through a hard camp right now. Oh,
nice.
Crit barely snags that regen rune ahead of Ame.
Every little bit helps.
Certainly. Yeah, it kind of looks like LGD, maybe they're not winning every lane like handedly, but they are winning every lane, right? Like, I would say even top lane, this is kind of a win for Old 11. He's very close to Arteezy in CS, 16-5 compared to 21-4. You don't expect that out of your offlaner mode.
I think a lot of it is just because the supports of EG can't really find a kill in a lane. Like mid, if Crit's sitting here soaking XP, it's probably the most efficient place for him to be. Because even if you roll in on top, there's a skewer. If you roll in on mid, if it's not the Lich, Ame's going to blink out. There's not a reliable place where Crit can go and find a real kill. And the other hero's a Pugna, so how is I going to kill anybody? I mean, right now, he's been stacking some Ancients for Sumail. But yeah, it's looking a little rough for EG and kill potential.
Ame jumps forward, pushes Crit back even further, and will cut the creep wave as a result. Seems like LGD, like, this laning phase is great and everything. They just really have to make sure they maintain control. Oh, nice stun there. Impale lands on his Zai with the nuke coming in. They bring Zai very low, and Ame's just looking to be able to finish him up with a couple of right clicks. But Sumail is here for a little bit of vengeance with a Fisher block. Maybe they can get Ame, but he managed to make the leap over to Yao. And the roll is going to miss from Crit as a result. Great play by Yao moving forward to give Ame that blink opportunity.
A nice movement there, forcing the reaction out of the offlaner as well. So Universe is going to have to hobble his way back towards bottom. Now this is a way, way better start for LGD than game number 1. I mean, they have just completely shut down the possibility of these rotations of EG really doing much of anything. Like Puck, PA, Mag, all with their own inherent escape mechanisms. There's just nowhere for Crit to go.
Oh, the 11 almost has reverse polarity. So he can actually maybe set up a kill. Maybe support rotates to him. Maybe he rotates to mid or something.
He hit level 6 before Arteezy did. It's kind of surprising.
Yeah. It's the power of empower denies.
Universe in this bottom lane in some trouble.
Coil holding Universe in for a little while. Maybe he's not going to be able to chase that one down though. But I think maybe he's just
top as well.
Job of owning
11.
It. The nuke. Oh, and it is enough to finish him off. He gets a raindrop immediately after he dies. He realizes that when he comes back to lane, he just cannot afford to be missing that raindrop.
I think a lot of people kind of underestimate just level 6 decision in general.
Yeah. Zai is going to be slowed down by the dagger, which leads to Victoria. Free Impale Land.
Well, here comes a little bit of damage on the tier 1 in the mid lane. LGD feeling themselves in this early game.
Yeah, I really love the fact that like they're not just winning the lanes, but they're also pressuring these towers really early. We kind of talked about in the beginning that LGD won't have that sort of lineup that just kind of like owns the map and takes objectives really fast. So the fact that if they can actually take some of these outer towers during the laning phase before EG actually get their team fight potential ready to go, I think that's a gigantic win, particularly when it comes to controlling the Ancients. Yao is going to be struck by the long-range boulder kick from Crit, helped out by the trap slow from Sumail and the familiar birds from Arteezy. And now we're beginning to see the little bit of group up from Evil Geniuses. Same situation last time. Arteezy can sit in his lane, continue to farm away, but bring his familiars to these other lines to gank for him. Situations like this, Victoria can't do anything to Crit.
Those birds are like stronger than heroes at this stage, man. They do so much damage. And in the meantime, Zai's just continually been stacking. On the right side of the map, we have the Ancient stack. We've got the medium camp stacked as well. There's a lot where Sumail can look to that and go kill it. I mean, heck, the top Ancients above the mid tower are also stacked. And I don't really think anyone on the side of LGD can do anything about it. They need like level 4 Empower PA or something to kill that.
I think they could take that mid tower and then get aggressive wards and then just move to contest. Ame tries to go for the quick kill onto Zai, but a trap fly will save him some of the trouble. Echo Slam from Universe is going to be able to control the Nyx Assassin. That's one. Ame going to be hit by the boulder from Crit, but he has to keep on moving as now Arteezy's here, plus the trap slow. They're going to be able to get the silence before Ame can make the jump over to Yao. A Chain Frost, that's a healthy one, bouncing back and forth between Sumail, but he managed to get the refraction off last second. Arteezy embracing that Chain Frost. They do manage to finish off Ame. Universe with the Fissure. A level 2 Fissure is able to take that kill.
That Chain Frost did no damage to Arteezy at all. Yeah. It just like bounced to him 3 times, did like 400 damage. No big deal. Between that and Refraction, EG able to just shrug that one off.
Maybe trying to get every bit of damage he can onto this tier 1 tower. Leaves it just above deny range. The heroes return back. LGD not going to be dissuaded from continuing the pressure. They're also getting a lot of damage onto the mid tower here. I love that LGD are so objective focused right now. Not deterred whatsoever by a bad fight.
Always just getting like those extra 1 or 2 attacks in on the tower. Over and over again, it builds up over time.
It is in deny range now. I think Puck's one of the most underrated heroes to be able to get that chip damage in, because you can right-click it until you draw the tower aggro.
Right.
Just face shift.
Yeah, it's really nice. Even when there's no creeps. If it's a tier 1, there's no backdoor protection, so you can like go in. You maybe eat like 1 tower shot, but you can get like 2 or 3 autos off.
Maybe. First time he's going to leave his lane, he heads up to top lane to see if he can help out Ame against Arteezy. Arteezy back way behind his tower and let his familiars intercept any heroes that are going to come through that dangerous tree alley. They're just going to try and kill the creep wave and surround this tower. Not going for the hero dive, just leaving Arteezy to rot there backline where he has to TP out and take the objective instead.
It's a nice little movement here, but EG just going to go for the one-to-one trade, leaving the birds in the top lane just in case. Unfortunately, they're not going to kill this fast enough to be able to TP back and defend their own tier 1, so it'll just be a flat-out trade for both teams. But it does buy time for Sumail to be able to kill these stacks. It's really tough, though, taking down these stacks when it's the double Prowler Shaman stack, so they just regen a ton of health. Like, he's basically not even hurt them. He just decides, nope, too much health.
Give on it, up on it for now. LGD, keep on going. Familiar's trying to draw attention away. They might as well keep going. They've got the siege creep. I'm sure EG don't feel too comfortable to just keep pushing on the bottom lane.
Well, normally with the Pugna, you'd say, yeah, let's just do it, you know? But he doesn't have... Oh, he has enough for Arcanes now. And he's only level 5, so it's a level 3 blast. If he had the mana sustain, I believe, they would have kept going.
Now they're stuck in this awkward situation where they don't feel good about pushing, but they also can't really feel good about defending either. LGD do have a lot of fighting power at this point in time with the Phantom Assassin sitting at level 8. Ame does go down to bottom lane, so they've done these kind of chip, and they've left 2 different towers very low. The bottom lane off lane tower from Evil Geniuses is actually still sitting in that deny range, and top only at 400 HP. So those towers will fall eventually. Just takes a little bit of a fortuitous team fight for LGD. Push turn into an objective. A 3-man smoke up from Evil Geniuses wrapping into the bottom lane. Ame is their target, and Victoria, he's been vendettaing around, but he wasn't in position to break that smoke. That would have been a huge win for him, and he might still be able to. He actually runs into crit here. They don't have any counter vision out. So EG's rotation does indeed fail as Ame backs up. Great read by LGD.
I think that LGD are going to be in for a real big surprise soon, though, because that smoke on Universe did not end up breaking, and he has a Blink Dagger. It's 12 minutes into the game. And he's got the Soul Ring, the boots, the Blink. The showcase of this could have huge implications for EG, getting momentum back.
There's the Echo Slam. It's going to go onto a Nyx Assassin, take that free kill before the Spike Carapace can go off. But maybe he wants to fight this. Maybe he doesn't. We'll see. The Familiars are coming in hard. Universe already takes 1 crit worth, and they're just going to be able to burst him down. Now they try and back up, but the Familiars is here with the silence, and the stuns are going to be able to control maybe for a really long time, but they do have the Chain Frost, and Arteezy could take it, but Zai cannot. It actually bounced over to hit crit as well, so maybe he's going to be able to get away a little bit farther, dodges some of that damage over time, and I think he's going to be okay. Ame just looks for his next victim. Now, he doesn't like fighting into Arteezy, but he really wants to be able to get on top of crit, but he just can't do it. He's going to have to back up. It's too much magic damage he's taking from these blasts. Victoria's coming in with his Vendetta, though.
This hero is so hard to kill, man. Like, he's got the hood, the medallion. Saw this build in the previous match. So much armor and survivability on the Visage. You kind of have to throw the kitchen sink at that hero if you want him to die.
Yeah. And that's why I think LGD just kind of avoided it, right? And just kill all the other surrounding heroes. Crit! Whoa, that was pretty fortunate, but he's still going to die. Completely mana burnt out by Victoria.
Well, looks like they'll finally claim the Ancient stack here since we have a bit of a lull in action on the map. Zai helping out, and by that I mean stealing the majority of the creeps. The thing is, when you have the double Prowler stack, they regenerate 40 health a second. It's so much that it actually takes a long time for even TA, who does a ton of physical damage, to be able to kind of chew through that. So LGD still with an incremental lead, about 3,000. Nothing to necessarily write home about, but I think the longevity of their lineup and just how much they're going to be able to do with the late game PA, Ame working his way towards that Desolator and having the Empower to fall back on, that's the thing that I feel EG are most scared of at this point.
2 Initiators ready to go. Old 11 has a Blink Dagger. He's smoked up with maybe. May not have a Blink Dagger, but it doesn't really matter. Nyx Assassin are already set up on Arteezy. As you said, kitchen sink. That's what they got to bring over here. And they are going to start the initiation before most of the team's over here, so Nyx Assassin is just going to be stunned up by the Familiars.
I think that Vendetta healed him. Like, he took like no damage at all. He just casually walks away or floats or...
So much damage reduction that you actually get healed.
And it seems that way.
Samael is actually clearing through the enemy Ancients. He's so desperate to just farm away because he really wants that Desolator. That's one of the bigger peaks for the Templar Assassin. LGD are cutting out a larger part of the map for themselves. They've taken all those outer towers. They just need the creep waves to push in. And they'll own a good 60% of this map, if not more.
A very close game this time around. Both teams kind of have their points where they feel the strongest. Like right now, LGD having the level 4 Empower, the Desos finished on Ame, they got Blink on the Magnus. There's a lot of things that LGD currently have at their disposal to be able to take the fights to EG. Whereas, you know, last game they had this anti-mage they were kind of consistently waiting on to get going. Smoke up here from both teams.
Smoke is going to be able to run into Old 11. He's been silenced up, but he might just be able to dodge this long enough to get off the RP. Tries to position for 2, instead goes to the skewer back, and they actually just slay the Earth Spirit. Maybe more. The dagger's going to be able to land onto Zai. Victoria's just going to go for the nuke. Stalled up, and mana burn will actually finish him off.
That's only a level 1 mana burn cap. It was only level 1.
Minus 201 mana, and then amplified by the fact he was still decrepified. It's not fun playing those squishy intelligence heroes against Nyx Assassin. There's just so many of them in the draft, Draskell.
Man, I would not want to play Pugna against these heroes. Yeah. Like, Puck is really good against him. The Nyx Assassin, obviously. If the PA ever gets Diffusal Blade, you just can't really live. Interestingly enough, though, Ame is going back for the Manta. I know that it's common for a lot of heroes playing around in Power to want to build stat-oriented items. But I'm kind of curious as to, you know, is Manta really going to benefit you as much as a BKB in these fights when you have to worry about things like Shaker and like getting stunned by the birds and all that other stuff? Because you can Manta off like Grave Chill, you can Manta off the Geomagnetic Grip Silence, which feels kind of nice, and the Yasha is definitely value for any melee hero being able to attack and stuff, but I'm wondering if the BKB wouldn't allow the PA to do more in the fights.
A Vendetta is going to pop EG Smoke, and oh, again, they're a little bit late. Oh, Jesus, that's a lot of dust, and he gets off the Spike Carapace before any of those abilities hit him, so he bounces back a lot of the damage. Victoria is going to be slain by the Echo Slam, but that's full-on commitment from Universe there. He's actually going to be hit by just a bunch of nukes from LGD, brought down, and the Coil also latching onto Samael is going to be able to get that extra hero. The RP laid down onto him. Zai's going to go and try and get some life drain out with a Chain Frost bounce around between the Familiars, and straight over to Samael, hits him again! Samael just can't get away from all this. Now Arteezy, it's up to him to somehow win this, but I don't think it's possible. With 2 of their heroes down, LGD, they're just going to be able to hunt for more. Dagger comes up into Arteezy with the skewer back. You can be super tank. Oh, they're still going to ignore him. They're going to go for crit. Take him down. Leave Arteezy as the big, beefy dessert for dinner. He'll go down, and Ame, and maybe just clean that team fight up. They're sitting at 10k and 8,000 net worth, respectively. Top 2 easily. Even get the extra kill with Zai. Maybe chases it all the way to the tier 3.
Universe being a bit uncharacteristically greedy there. You know, going in for the solo Echo onto the Nyx. Yeah. Maybe they just didn't have enough vision of the enemy high ground. I guess we'll get to see it again, so...
I mean, they did have that mid ward.
Oh, this is a little bit later on into the fight. This is after they pretty much had already won it. I really like Ame's decision to just say, screw going for Arteezy until everyone else is dead. I think that's kind of how you have to handle the fights, because if you commit so much to the tankiest hero, and you kind of have this grouping up around the Visage, there's good opportunities for the Echo to come in, which obviously during that fight was down, but later on into the game, I'm kind of expecting some Universe Echoes that will be a little bit more fruitful than the one we just saw in the middle lane.
Yeah, Visage is just so tanky, and thanks to the Ice Armor, they can kind of ignore the damage of the birds as well. The Familiars aren't actually just chunking heroes down like they normally do.
That's the coolest thing about having a Lich on your team, when one team is so reliant on that core being able to burst you down with just sheer physical DPS, and you have Ice Armor and things like that. And later on, you know, maybe he even buys Solar Crest. It's a phenomenal item against Visage and TA, especially when you have the one core going in, like a Phantom Assassin who really needs to be able to live long enough to get that crit.
The Ward Sentry does spot Victoria here, but crit is going to dive by himself into the Roshan pit. Victoria heads back over to top lane where Zai's trying to poke at it. Is he going to wait for another blast? His Spike Carapaces? No, he just goes to the stun. Will manage to land it. The help of maybe. Honestly, there was no pressure to land the Impale there, because maybe could just practically blow him up all by himself. Yao's going to run into 2 here. The wards just ended up dying, but it was just long enough for them to be able to see Yao in position. I'll take that free support pick off, but they are going to be caught. Maybe he's gone straight over from top lane and immediately gotten to mid to catch the extra hero in the Earth Spirit. See if he can get any more, though. This Old 11 moves forward with his Shadow Blade.
He's so farmed
up. Yeah. I mean, he sat in his lane and just farmed and farmed and farmed for a really long time.
I suppose it's just going back to the general laning phase discussion that we had about how it was so difficult for EG to realistically move crit around the map and find success and get kills. like most of the time he was just soaking EXP. Because that's all he could do. It's not really about how he played the game. It's just the hero matching up individually against the respective cores of LGD and how little that he can do to stop them from getting that farm. And a lot of that's being showcased here as LGD have accrued themselves an AK net worth lead in a 21-minute game. It's fairly substantial.
For sure. And I'm looking at this. Most of this farm is just being put on Sumail. Carry us, Sumail, please. But he only has Blink Dagger and Desolator. BKB is just not going to be up anytime soon. So LGD's dominance of this part of the game, I think, is still quite strong. Like, barring an incredible initiation Echo Slam, I don't think they lose 5-on-5s, really.
Most likely not, especially considering there's no True Strike coming out from anyone but the support, or not support, but offlane Shaker.
Yeah.
It's really tough to deal with Ame. He's got a double damage here. Manta's finished.
Yeah, this is pretty easy for them to take a chance on Roshan, because he could just do it by himself. There's very little threat of Evil Geniuses interrupting Roshan in a very disastrous initiation when you only have one hero that's beating on Roshan. The rest are kind of sitting outside ready to counter-initiate. They're actually going to go for the 4-man smoke up here and back into the pit. There's still a trap there.
Still a trap and birds, so they will definitely know something is up.
Victoria doesn't have the Vendetta, so he's going to be revealed as the smoke pops. The universe starts moving forward. Oh my goodness. All right, well, thank God Medic's Eye is there, but the RP! Old 11 spotted his opportunity to land onto 3. He's going to be able to grab RT as well with the Chain Frost bouncing around. That is all 3 of them dead. Universe's counter-initiation was just nothing. He threw out the Fissure, but what a beautiful setup from Old 11 that just guaranteed won the team fight.
Oh boy, that 1 second, you know, that tiny lapse in judgment where everyone's sitting on top of each other, and just instantly Old 11 is in there. Perfect reaction, excellent bait, secures the Roshan. LGD feeling pretty good about their situation. They're going to walk down the middle lane, get some damage on the tier 2. Oh god, that was such a fast reaction as well. Universe goes in and throws out the Fissure after the fact, but it's just too little too late. Ame already had the Empower, just chewed through everyone, and here we are back at the mid-tier 2.
17-7, 12,000 gold lead. LGD looking to tie out this 2-game series in the group stage.
It is going to be the Medallion choice here on Yao. Going straight into the Solar Crest. It's really nice because your high ground siege hero is melee. So I think that in of itself kind of makes the Solar Crest a value item, because it's not like a ranged hero where you can, you know, sit super far back and feel safer. You got to be in there if you're the Phantom Assassin in this game. And
sure. Oh, Dust actually catches Sumail, who is wandering around with an Invis rune. He's got to go for the TP out, though. And oh, wait, they have Yules. Okay, so Sumail's going to be stalled up. Does have the Refraction blink away. Nice play there. Dagger onto the Earth Spirit, not going to land as he also successfully TPs out. It's a very small win for EG just to be able to get out of there alive.
There is still a lot of time needed for EG to be able to realistically deal with this Phantom Assassin. Like, sure, the BKB on the Templar Assassin will help, but Sumail's not really going to be able to man-fight an ice-armored Aegis Phantom Assassin without True Strike. Yeah. That continues to be like the theme of the game. When can they physically kill the PA, not just one time, but twice? And do LGD feel comfortable enough in their advantage right now to try to pressure that high ground?
This is probably the hardest part of the game, though, for LGD.
Yes.
They're super far ahead, but it's just the essence of cracking high ground. Really difficult for them. They just don't have a good hero for it.
And we can see just the hesitant play here from Ame, waiting out the creep wave. Those birds just do not take damage if RTZ's nearby.
Oh, an initiation actually on the side. They bring Sumail in for this one. They pop the BKB, but that is a puck that is able to dodge all the damage thanks to Yules. And now Phase Shift, but the Universe gets the initiation still onto him. So they get that big kill, but the RP goes down. Managed to grab 2, but Sumail will chase him away. The heroes are just ready to live. Ame, he actually comes in and gets another crit. He managed to finish off one, but he is so damn low. And if he dies, he might not come back alive with that Aegis. He's just going to come back and might die again. Fortunately, Sumail doesn't have any mana, and Universe doesn't really have a whole lot of mana either. He's going to be able to get that control of the Enchant Totem, plus the bird, slowing him down. This is the problem, is they could just kite Ame really well on that second life. But again, Sumail didn't really have the mana to come forward. They're trying to say, Jesus Christ! Ame, 982 damage from a dagger, but he will end up dying. That is a nice little impale. And now he is also going to be feasted upon by the Evil Geniuses, boys. They just brought themselves a huge win in that defense. They won a fight against Aegis as well. There's a 4,000 gold swing and 9,000 experience gain for Evil Geniuses in that fight.
That was massive. Absolutely massive. Universe came in really big, getting the Echo that secured the kill onto Maybe. And I think the RP ended up baiting them into a fight where they didn't really want to dive that hard. So
yeah.
He sees it and he has Empower on and he thinks to himself, okay, I kind of have to go on this. And even though he crit 2 times and 3 or 4 attacks, it just really isn't worth it at the end of the day if you respawn, like you said, without the use of something like a BKB, because you can't just get out. The Manta style was on cooldown. He couldn't dispel the silences. I think it was like 1 or 2 seconds off. Victoria's going to look for a kill here on the crit, maybe.
But there is going to be Arteezy there. They're going to burst down crit, but maybe Arteezy can get the counter kill. Victoria, yes, she certainly can. This is one of those danger levels for Arteezy as well. The Visage gets to level 15, and all of a sudden his hero starts actually right-clicking pretty hard. Before, it's just all on the familiars, but level 15, you get that 50 damage. Thanks to the attack speed of Grave Chill and the minus armor from Solar Crest, your hero also starts doing a decent amount as well.
He's even going for the Assault Cuirass, so he's going to have armor on armor. Did not like how that last team fight went, getting crit 2 times and just pretty much being deleted.
Yeah.
That's definitely not what you want. EG's still holding on, though. I mean, that was a really good timing for LGD that they held against that push. I mean, they barely even dealt any damage to the tier 3.
It's kind of like an uncharacteristic mistake from LGD, because I feel like the read is pretty clear. Like, you can't really go high ground until BKB on P.
Well, I mean, we say that, but he didn't even buy BKB after his Manta. He bought Diffusal instead.
Yeah.
So he's going for like the later timing, where he's going to have another item to supplement his magic immunity and say, okay, if you decrep or you glimmer or whatever, I'm going to be able to just kill you anyway.
Yeah, and I think that's fair enough. I just, at that point in time, if they're going to choose for that kind of item build, LGD, they just need to control the game, right? With this kind of lineup, if you don't have a clear high ground hero, you have to control and just build and build and build and get more and more of an advantage until you're so overwhelmingly larger than the enemy team that you can just force that high ground despite not having the best heroes for it. And instead, they try and go a bit too early. And that 12,000 gold lead that they had gets cut down to only 9k and only a 5,000 experience lead after that. They're going to push through top lane, though. Highly doubt they're going to go high ground again without an Aegis and BKB. Plus, they almost have Shivas.
Yeah, it would be a little bit silly, I think, to try to force this after what happened in the bottom lane. And in the meantime, EG are feeling good about being out on the map right now. They're kind of positioned defensively around Sumail, who's going to hit the tier 2. So this movement, I still think, kind of favors EG, just in the sense that they're getting an actual objective, where LGD were more just about placing that one ward right outside of Evil Genius's base and then saying, okay, let's go ahead and back off after we force a little bit of a reaction.
What do you think about the Bloodthorn over the MKB? Now, the Bloodthorn has been really heavily valued over MKB. It's been sort of a lost item, but this PA will have both the Manta as well as the BKB to deal with the Bloodthorn on himself.
I think that it's good in the sense that not a lot of heroes on the side of LGD can get rid of it. I think it's just the Puck and the PA. Right. So maybe if Sumail in the fights is thinking to himself, I don't really want to directly fight the PA, I just want to kill everyone else, then it's a pretty good choice. And it also allows you to stay out on the map pretty much indefinitely. You know, you're always going to have mana because of the Orchid component.
Yeah. Shiva's reveal onto Earthshaker. Stuck up on the cliff, but Sumail is going to try and fight this one.
Oh,
he blinks forward with the BKB, the Yule Scepter onto maybe. Buys a lot of time where Sumail's just not doing anything with his BKB, so he's forced to retreat.
That halberd, man, that was like perfectly timed.
Yeah.
From 11. Cast it on him, just can't do anything. Like even a 10-second BKB, it's a 5-second disarm regardless.
Great choice of an item too for him. I mean, like at a certain point, you just think to yourself as Magnus, like, do I start building as a core? Do I actually start building as damage, which is kind of rare nowadays? Or you just, most of the time, get a lot of utility after your Blink Dagger and Shadow Blade. And Heaven's Halberd, I think, is the perfect like third item for him when it comes to utility against this team.
It makes a ton of sense because the biggest threat to his carry player is the TA. And if you really are only worried about like the potential Bloodthorn / MKB and killing Ame in the fights, then the best thing you can do if you're playing this kind of hero who supports as an offlane for your core, then Halberd is, like you said, it's pretty much the ideal choice. Because if Sumail is slow on the BKB pop and he gets disarmed again like that during a fight, 5 seconds is a really long time to not be able to hit somebody.
Yeah. I
mean, a PA could get 2 crits in that time and take out 2 different heroes.
Lotus Orb's going to be a great follow-up as well. Grave Chill, Silence.
Yep.
And bounce back the Life Drain. There's a lot of things that the Lotus Orb's utility is going to be very value for. The Manta Illusions are pushing out for Ame while he takes up Ancients. That's one of the really nice things about these Manta pickup. Just kind of continues to build up his farm a lot in a very safe way.
It is a little bit of a different build, but it's working out for him so far in this game. I guess he's not going to go for the lockdown choice. He's opting for the Assault Cuirass. Maybe just itemizing more around the idea that he has to be the high ground sieging hero and not the I'm going to kill everyone hero, which is classically what Phantom Assassins like to do. Because you always, well, not always, but you sometimes have that other hero on your team that can reliably hit buildings. It's not just you.
Red alert! Red alert, LGD!
Oh boy.
Don't let creep waves push into your tier 3 against a Visage. Because familiars will take a big chunk of that tier 3 because there's no heroes around. So they actually have a lot less armor than you would usually expect.
Another Roshan attempt coming in here, maybe showing on the map. I like this play from LGD. I think that EG may have some kind of idea of what's going on, but there is plenty of vision on LGD as well. It's going to be able to scout out any movement coming in from the top.
They get the trap in there. They reveal that Roshan is quite low, but they back away. Gonna give up on that one. I think that's for the best. Again, LGD really could be stymied by the high ground riddle. So better to take the fight inside your own base, even if it means not contesting Roshan.
Well, LGD have another problem too, I think, right now, is do you really want to push mid? Mid is so much harder. I guess only 2 of the 3 shrines are up right now, but yeah, I guess they're gonna go for the wrap and maybe just cut the wave bottom, try to make it so that it kind of pushes in on its own.
Stand familiars, just keep on pushing out bottom lane. Maybe with the Shivas, he can actually kill him. That's what I really love about the Shivas here.
Resummon.
RTZ resummon, well timed. Still forces something. EG, knowing that the puck is actually bottom lane, they're going to push out and see if they can catch somebody here. Universe had his blink. They're going to go for the Phantom Assassin here. They do manage to land the stun before the BKB, so he's just going to give up his first life. That's okay. He's going to come back with BKB and see if he can chase EG. Or EG going to feel like they can fight this one. He is actually going to blink forward and take the easier kill onto Yao, potentially, with a trap slowing him down. Universe is just going to hold on to his Shadow Blade here, sit on the back lines, waiting for his blink. If there's any sort of counter initiation like Victoria coming up here, RTZ, oh, geez, Zame actually just blows up the Earth Spirit, but they do manage to get a jump in from Old 11. Unfortunately, he was silenced, so the RP is only going to be able to catch one, but it is RTZ. Ame will take that kill. Echo Slam, oh no, it's a little bit late. They do manage to get the stun onto Ame, which buys Sumail a little bit of time, but it was Heaven's Halberd during all of that, so he just sat there in the Melt Strike, and now he's going to be surrounded by far too many heroes. LGD will actually take 4 of Evil Geniuses, only losing their Aegis and their Lich. That is the danger of pushing out of Evil Geniuses outside of your base.
He did 7,300 damage during that fight.
I thought for sure EG was just going to take that Aegis and then back up.
I think they wanted more because they knew that the puck wasn't there at the start. I think that's why they felt confident in being able to kind of push that a little bit farther, but man, were they just dead wrong. And now LGD coming up middle lane, still have Chain Frost. Got that cheese in the inventory of Ame still on the Phantom Assassin, so this is very difficult for EG to justify buying back on these 2 heroes. The respawn's so low, I think you just have to let this die.
Yeah, without TA, I think it's not possible for them to win a fight against LGD, so.
Things look so promising at the beginning of that. They get the Bloodthorn on Ame into a stun lock, so he's not able to Manta or BKB. They get the Aegis with relative ease. They're basically in a 3v5 at that point, and they just overcommit. And poor Crit, man, he just got one shot. This is 2 sets of very easy racks for LGD.
LGD still kind of sticking around. Old 11 with his Shadow Blade, just kind of hoping EG are going to poke one hero out in an awkward position, but EG remain pretty resolute in their stance around the tier 4s. So LGD will back up. That will be an Assault Cuirass finished up for Ame. He's got 6,400 gold.
Dude, he's rich.
Lotus Orb for the Magnus. Where's our Puck at? He's got the Aghanim Scepter. So they actually just got so much bigger than the last fight they had.
I think that the Lich pick ended up doing a ton more than you could probably just see at face value in this game, just because Ice Armor is just so huge against a physical damage output, and the BKB timing coming out on the PA ended up being kind of perfect for what they wanted. Just the PA hitting hard enough to really just destroy in one crit. Because that's really like the sweet spot, right? When you get one crit from your ultimate and you just kill the hero instantaneously. It's what happened to Crit, it's what happened to Zai earlier on.
What have we here?
Samael, pressure fraction, but maybe he's going to be able to jump forward and catch Zai. Fisher laid out, does give Zai a little bit of time with his Glimmer Cape to escape.
Dire's top shrine is under attack.
Looks easy, split pushing for all he's worth.
It's just not really that fast. That's the thing, right? Like, you can keep the birds in the side lanes, and they will idly keep the lane out, and you can keep using the stuns off cooldown and whatnot, and it's definitely what you should be doing, but it might not be fast enough to make LGD back off, and that's the real worry.
RP onto Solo Samael with the coil just for the added stun. He's dead. 90 seconds. How do they possibly hold against LGD, especially with Ame just running a train on Evil Genius? He's going for RTZ. Meanwhile, the jump forward by Crit does whatever disruptive damage he can. But in the end, it's two heroes from Evil Geniuses that are left. RTZ with the buyback, and Universe jumps forward. Okay, that's not the initiation you really wanted. He gets out only a Fisher, no Echo Slam. RTZ comes back just to die again, and EG will call it Ultra Kill for Ame to end things here in this game number 2.
Super impressive game from LGD. I think after having seen the way the lanes played out, they just had such stable, strong early game that it was so difficult for the Earth Spirit to accomplish really much of anything. They opted to put Zai on the Pugna. You know, we didn't really see a whole lot of early game grouping up and pushing because they had these heroes that needed some farm, and Sumail was struggling in the mid lane. It just never really felt to me like Evil Genius's lineup got going. It was always LGD pressuring, LGD fighting, getting the objectives down, and eventually when push comes to shove, you can't just let that keep happening, and LGD never really let up.
LGD, they still have their match against TNC. Who is EG's last opponent that they have to face?
EG have to play Infamous, I believe.
Infamous.
Oh, according to this, they haven't played Fnatic either.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So EG, I don't think they'll be too disappointed with 1-1 if they can just close out the rest of the series with 2-0s. Meanwhile, LGD, I think, are pretty thankful that they managed to tie out that series. If they could just force a tie versus TNC, I think they still guarantee their top 4 position. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing both these teams event, though.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, LGD is showing here, once again, why they are the top of the group coming into the series. Like, they showed in the second game how easily they can bounce back, and sure, every once in a while you get this kind of funky draft where you kind of just get outpicked and you're not really sure how you can play